Imagine stepping off a ship after months at sea, expecting to greet your friends and family, only to find their village reclaimed by the forest. This was the reality Governor John White faced when he returned to Roanoke Island in 1590. 115 men, women, and children had vanished. There were no bodies to bury. There were no discarded weapons, and no evidence of a struggle left behind in the dirt. The departing settlers left no letters or journals to explain their flight, only a single word carved into a wooden post: Croatoan. The colony was chronically short on supplies and geographically isolated. Behind them lay an ocean that took months to cross, and before them stretched a North American frontier vast enough to swallow every trace of their existence. We tend to view history as a solid, continuous record. But the Roanoke Void shows that the past is actually a structure with massive empty sections, a record that can effortlessly lose the thread of an entire community. Long before the English arrived in the Americas, entire empires were erased. In 1177 BC, the Mediterranean was a wealthy, interconnected confederation of seafaring raiders, known only as the Sea Peoples, swept across the region, leaving a trail of burning cities. They left behind total destruction. The great trade hub of Ugarit sent out a final, desperate plea for military help that went entirely unanswered before the city was leveled. At the time, the Hittite Empire was the undisputed superpower of the region, commanding massive armies and vast territories. Yet even the Hittites were wiped off the map. Their capital was abandoned and their political structure dissolved, leaving only these weathered stone lions to guard a civilization that no longer existed. The identity of these raiders remains a subject of intense debate. Some scholars argue the Sea Peoples were refugees fleeing drought and famine, while others suggest their piracy was just one symptom of a larger internal collapse. This is the danger of systemic societal collapse. In a deeply interconnected network, the failure of a single critical trade node can trigger a domino effect that shatters the entire system, turning a global economy into a dark age. The disappearance of these superpowers proves that military might and vast wealth are not permanent. When the system fails, even the most dominant cultures can be removed from the active record. In 1483, the scale of erasure shifted from empires to individuals. The setting was the inner apartments of the Tower of London, a fortress designed to keep the world out and its secrets in. The captives were 12-year-old King Edward V and his younger brother. After their uncle, Richard III, seized the throne and declared them illegitimate, the boys were confined to these stone rooms. At first, they were seen playing in the yard. Then those sightings stopped. A doctor who visited the young king reported that the boy was praying daily for his sins, sensing his life was nearing its end. Shortly after, the princes disappeared from public view entirely. History suggests Richard III had them smothered, but the evidence is circumstantial. Both Richard and his successor, Henry Tudor, had motives to remove the boys. There is also the possibility they were sent into a quiet, permanent exile. In 1674, workmen found the bones of 2 children buried beneath the tower staircase. Modern forensic analysis, however, has never been able to confirm they belong to the brothers. When an institution as powerful as the Crown decides to hide a body, it creates a void in the record that can never be filled by speculation. Erasure can also happen to the mind. In Yale's Voynich library, the 15th century Voynich manuscript represents a complete loss of recorded meaning. The book is an alien landscape. It is filled with drawings of non-existent plants and women bathing in green fluids, described in a unique looping script. Computational analysis shows the statistical signature of a functional language, yet it defeated WW2's greatest codebreakers. In 1948, erasure reached its smallest point. A man found dead on Somerton Beach in a city of thousands, yet recognized by no one. He was in peak physical condition and dressed in a high-quality suit, but every identification label had been cut out of his clothing. His fingerprints and dental records matched no one in the global database. Deep inside a hidden pocket in his trousers, police found a rolled-up scrap of paper with the Persian words "Tamam Shud," meaning "it is finished." Detectives found the book the scrap was torn from. It contained a local phone number and an indented, unbreakable code. The number led to a nurse who lived nearby. She was visibly shaken when shown a cast of the man's face, yet denied ever meeting him. Recent DNA testing finally gave the man a name, Carl Webb, an Australian electrical engineer, but the name solves very little. We still don't know why he was on that beach, what his code meant, or why he systematically stripped away his own history. Carl Webb exists in a database, but the man himself remains lost. This brings us back to the mist on Roanoke Island and the people who walked into the American interior and never returned. The truth may be less mysterious than we imagine. Faced with starvation, the colonists likely dismantled their homes and moved in with the Croatoan tribe, eventually blending their lives and their lineage into a different culture. Whether the burning of Ugarit or the silence of the tower, these voids exist because the context of the past is fragile. Simply finding a name or a bone doesn't recover the lost reality. A name like Carl Webb doesn't explain a life, and a carving on a post doesn't explain a colony's fear. The passage of time is a physical force. It buries our cities and removes the context of our lives, leaving behind only the most durable fragments for us to find. The value of these mysteries is not in the final answer, but in our refusal to stop looking for it. The past is full of people waiting to be remembered. We just have to keep listening.